What's going on, y'all? KM Best here, your favorite 69th ranked Marvel snapper. I had a really tough day. I lost so many SP and I got most of it back. A 100 SP climb with Loki. And the crazy thing about it is I had a 50-50 win rate, but I was plus a ton of cubes. This is the list that I have been using. It is one card off what I was already playing, but I lost to Tanjo playing Eliath, and I was so down bad. I was like, Tanjo, what the hell are you doing with your Eliath Loki? Please tell me it makes sense. And it does. It does make sense. I had a mediocre win rate with a very high cube rate with this deck, which I think highlights just how surprising it is. This is probably the highest cube rate relative to win rate of any deck that I've played in an extended period of time. And I think that a lot of it is due to Eliath, it's due to the tech cards, and it's due to people not being as used to playing around their own decks as they were in previous situations. Now, I do think you guys are familiar with Loki, right? You know, KM's making another Loki video, but I do want to be clear. This is not the best deck in the game. This is a good deck. It's a solid deck. I have nothing against it, but I'm playing it as a comfort pick. And so I'm making this video in case you are someone who misses playing this deck as well, to let you know it ain't dead. You're okay to play it. It is actually kind of solid. I was surprised personally by how solid it felt. I feel like the win rate and the cube rate being so different is due to the fact that you don't have as many free wins anymore. You don't just dominate people, they leave, you get a bunch of 1-cubers, but you do win a bunch of big 8-cubers on the back of nobody expecting Eliath, and your variety of tech cards. Even Enchantress is not necessarily overly expected in this list. Now, in terms of the archetype you fit into, you are very similar to the Sarah decks, and this is a slightly worse version, I would say, of the Sarah decks, but its upside is unpredictability and 8-cube wins. At this point, people know what not to do against Sarah, and that's stay in when they're going to do something stupid to you, which is almost always when they have a bunch of discounts. Now, people aren't as disciplined against Loki stuff because there's so much ambiguity in what it could be, and so Loki has some solid cube equity because people just don't really know what to do when they're faced by him anymore because he's no longer an extremely common thing to see. As a degenerate Loki gamer, you are still absolutely playing Quinjet. One concern that you're gonna have when you play this guy is the increased presence of Killmonger. Although some of the Sarah decks have been cutting him, he is a staple in Destroy, and those are some pretty common decks to see. Quinjet is, I think, quite important in this meta, because without Quinjet, you are very hard-pressed to deal with things like Thanos, or to deal with things like Hela, Black Knight, things of that nature. Those are matchups that can become winnable with the Quinjet, but if you're paying only 5 on the discount instead of 4, you're in a little bit more trouble when you're trying to leverage their 6 drops. So Quinjet right now, mainly for those matchups, obviously has some weaknesses to the decks that play Killmonger, and in those situations, you may not want to invest in it, but it is generally still worth playing in the deck. If you are playing on a budget, I do think that you can replace Snowguard with X-23. Why did I say X-23? I actually meant to say Agent 13. I'm leaving that in. They both have numbers at the end. You can't legally get mad at me. If I see anyone in the comments getting mad at me for this, you're instantly banned. Instantly. And I am going to talk about why Snowguard makes a little bit more sense, though. The main thing that you have to concern yourself with Snowguard is you don't want to overfill your hand if you are attempting to play an Agent Coulson. However, sometimes you actually do want to overfill your hand if you are going to Loki away your hand. One thing that I have been doing a lot in this list is getting myself set up in a situation where I have tech in the deck that I do not want to draw before I play my Loki, because I think I want to draw it later. This is especially relevant when you're playing stuff like Eliath, is like, I really want to keep Eliath in the deck so I can draw it later and then use my turn 5 with all of their cards to set up the Eliath. That is the kind of thing you're going to have to think about. And so where what was normally a huge downside is this card can really fill up your hand pretty significantly, is now even more of an upside when there's so much surprise tech, and you know which tech you need to try to keep in the deck, and they don't know that you're doing that. So there is a little bit more upside to Snowguard in this list than in previous ones. Mirage is dope, but if you ask me, I would not spend 3,000 tokens on Mirage. I would simply play Sentinel. Mirage is a great card. I have no issues with it, but I do not think you should be spending 3,000 tokens to upgrade what even I consider a tier 2 deck into its better form. You can do better with your tokens, despite the fact that I do think the best version of Loki does play Mirage. I think that Sentinel is not a significant drop off, and I think that you will be able to find better things to do with 3,000 tokens than upgrading Loki right now. I am so torn on Shadow King. I think if I were into replacing him, it would be like for Jeff or something. But Shadow King right now is legitimately good if you can throw priority against those destroy decks. There are a lot of Venoms running around, a lot of Deadpools running around. Shadow King is good there. The issue is that he is the most turn 6y of your tech cards, right? Like, you're almost always going to play him on turn 6, and that means that he is one of those cards where it's like, man, if this was a playable 2-drop, I would have felt a lot better about curving out, going something like Quinjet into playable 2-drop into, Agent Coulson into Loki. That feels like it might be more valuable than having this tech card remain in the deck. I think, especially with Eliath in there, I am really tempted to just go for something with a little bit more tempo to it. I've even considered Silk. I haven't made that swap yet, but this is something to seriously consider if you plan on picking this deck up. I shouldn't have to say much about Zabu. This guy is probably the best card in the game, and that is for a good reason, and that reason is that he is super busted and allows you to cheat on energy. But more than just allowing you to cheat on energy, there's a reason why Zabu specifically is so good, and it's because 3-drops are not very good, and 4-drops are very good. When you think about the average 3-drop, people are crying power creep over a 3-5 releasing. Meanwhile, Miss Marvel is a 414, Darkhawk is like a 412, Werewolf is like a 412, Sentry is a 410 that turns into a 420. It's very clear that 4s are significantly better than 3s, and the crux of Zabu's power is actually that imbalance. Cards that can legitimately win lanes, being able to play multiple of them, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, on the final turn, that's a really, really, really big deal. And that is the crux of Zabu's power. This imbalance between 3s and 4s, Zabu exacerbates it, but also the reason he's good is because it exists. Agent Coulson is kind of an all-star in this deck. Like, Quinjet, Coulson, Tempo, Eliath is legitimately a play you're going to make a lot of the time. That is going to be your game plan in some of these matchups, and it is a viable one. I think the thing I like most about playing Loki specifically is just how much variability there is in your game plan. And this can go, up or down, right? Sometimes I don't want that. But when I do want to just play something where it's like, I don't even know what's going to happen, this is a great deck, and Coulson is a big reason how that stuff is able to be strong despite being random because of the discounts you get with Quinjet, and of course because you just throw them into Loki when they suck. Gladiator is either the best card in the game or the worst card in the game. Like, he's another guy where like the symptoms of the 3s sucking issue is really apparent with Gladiator, because you want to replace him with something that doesn't lose you the game some of the time, but there's just nothing that's even close. There's nothing that's even in the range of being as big as Gladiator at his cost. The only thing that I could really think of is like High Evolutionary Cyclops, and even that, it's not really in the range. Like, that is a 3/8. He is a big guy. He is significantly bigger than everything else at his cost, and that is why he's in the deck, because it's hard to turn down a 3/8. If you don't have him, though, I know people are going to ask this, I would wait until his cash comes up rather than spending 6,000 tokens on him. I know people are going to ask this. I think it's worth waiting just to get the better value. Resources are hard to find in Marvel Snap, and I would not advise spending them rashly. The best card in Marvel Snap that isn't Zabu, but also might be better than Zabu, that's Shang-Chi, a 4/3 that reads win the game, and I think he's kind of patient zero for why 4-drops need to be strong, because when we talk about why 3s are bad and 4s are good, the simplest answer I can come up with is that they design 4s to be good enough to compete with Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi is big enough to win a lane, and so 4s have to be big enough to win lanes, whereas with 3s, they simply do not. So Shang-Chi is sort of the patient zero of like 4-drop power creep, I think, where if you're going to make a 4-drop, it needs to be good enough to be better than Shang-Chi, which is really hard to do because this is like the best card in the game. And so I think that that is like the root of the issue. In this deck, obviously, he's doing what he does in every other deck, which is blow up big stuff. There is a shocking amount of Enchantress in the metagame right now, and I guess I shouldn't be that shocked. It's in this deck too. But this card, Miss Marvel, is really good and also really Enchantress all the time. Like, all the time. One thing to think about, though, is there is a lot less rogue, so your heuristics for how you play out Miss Marvel have changed. In the previous metagames, you were often grouping your ongoings in the same lane in order to preempt Rogue. Enchantress has taken over for Rogue as the ongoing tech of choice in most lists, and that means that you want to start splitting up your ongoings again. That would be my advice, at least. Speaking of Enchantress, I actually do think that you could try to replace her with Rogue here. Like, I don't think it's as far off as people seem to think. And I think especially Rogue gives you some game into the Mobiuses that some Sarah decks are playing that otherwise you Enchantress them. But if you could Rogue them, that would be way better for you in that matchup. So there is definitely some consideration for that. I think Rogue is very close to being as good as Enchantress here. I have opted for Enchantress because of Zabu's synergy, and of course because it's just a slightly bigger body. And while we do have a lot of 4s, it's a lot harder to get multiple 4s in the same lane, whereas multiple 3s, I feel like, is a thing that happens in Bottleneck's Miss Marvel a pretty decent amount of the time. And so there is that consideration as well when weighing Enchantress against Rogue. All hail President Loki. Loki is still pretty good. Like, I do think he is no longer the best deck in his archetype, but you can really get some wins here. And I do think, I don't know when it happened. I really don't. But Loki went from a deck with good win rate and low cube rate to a deck now that has, for me at least, mediocre win rate and sky high cube rate. And I do think that means it requires some discipline. It requires you to know when your deck is doing the thing you want it to do in the matchup and when it's not. It requires not being stupid about stays, and I'm not perfect about that. But I do think that my results here should point you in the direction of it is possible to win with this deck, for sure, even at the highest level of play. Goliath. So this is basically your concession to the fact that this deck is not as strong as the other tier 1 decks. I don't even know if I would be fair to say the other tier 1 decks. I think this is a very solid tier 2 deck. And because of that, you need to win the games that people do not expect you to win. Goliath is an 8 cube winner. Maybe a little bit less after I make this video, but it is just absolutely insane to play around this card in Loki. Like, it is just not a thing anyone should ever do in a million goddamn years. And so you shouldn't expect people to do it, and that means you can get a ton of big wins with Goliath. All right, y'all, we're going to jump into some footage from my stream. There is a decent chance I'm pretty upset during it, though. I'll give you fair warning. I lost like 200 SP, and I got 100 of it back with this deck, and I got to take that where I can, honestly. Like, going plus 100 is pretty impressive. The going minus 200 before it, maybe avoid that if you can. But that was with a bunch of other decks. This deck was consistently my best deck on the day. It was the only thing I could even buy. I could barely buy a win with anything else. This was the only thing that could actually work for me. And I am happy that I was able to play, you know, my favorite deck. You know, I love Loki. The KM Best made another Loki video. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I've been KM Best. You've been phenomenal. I'll see you in the next one. I really wanted to set up for that Goliath win. It really felt like we could have gotten somewhere with it. Alas. Alas. These are some okay cards. Like, there's like some legitimately solid things that can go on here. I'll glad some 8ers. Okay. They're snapping me. I don't enjoy this situation. I'm interested in finding out a little bit, though. Why would they give me that? Why would they give me that? Fuck, I'm terrified. I'm gonna get Magento'd, lose 8 cubes, and end the stream. I'm gonna get Magento'd, lose 8 cubes, and end the stream. I win 8 cubes. Let's fucking go. No one plays around. How many points do you need? I've lost 150 today. It's not a realistic ask. See, they snap me. I have... The worry is Kyera, right? The worry is they literally just Kyera me. What if I just throw that lane away? Oh my god, see, look at that. I took priority and now I can't get Kyera. All that shit dies. Look at that priority gaming, chat. Whoop-pow! Get out! No hopes. Oh, just too late, baby. Just too late on the Kyera. Just a second too late. All right, now give me your shit double discounted, please. Thank you very much. Well, fuck me running. They play one big guy, right? We beat one big guy. Okay. Hell yes. We beat one big guy. Kyera costs 3! Let's go. Let's go. Insane, I feel like. But what do I know? It feels kind of insane to me. Like, that just seems like a very strong... Like, you're doing a really stringent thing here. I'm a little suspicious of what's happening here. It looks like Tribunal to me. And if it is Tribunal, I don't love my spot. However, they're snapping me as if it is Tribunal, I think. I'll stay in. This is Tribunal. Okay. And that is Tribunal. All right. Cool. We draw Enchantress Ever. We win the game. There are 3 cards in the deck, so we are going to take our little time with that. We are going to take our time with that. Because of Olympia, we're guaranteed the Enchantress at some point, I believe. All right, so we have a Jubilee who will pull the Enchantress next turn if that ends up being necessary. I don't know why I did it like that. That was stupid. Marvel left does do nothing. That is correct. I really hope they don't have the card Cosmo. That would be quite bad. If I were a genius, what I would have done is played the Hawk and the Enchantress in the same lanes. Would have swapped the Hawk and the Wave here. That's what a genius would have done. That way I don't lose all the cubes. They gotta pull upstream to see if they won. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank fucking God. Okay, we're good. Get out. Go away. Get out. All of that goes away forever. It leaves. It's gone. It Yeah. Yeah. Cosmo is not real, chat. It is not real. It is a fake card. The fakest card that's ever existed. Hello, TX Hog. The way we could have done that, actually, is if we played Killmonger first and then Nova Carnage. That's probably what we were supposed to do. Actually, we were supposed to play Killmonger first and then Nova Carnage. That's what was supposed to happen. I'm too tired to see it. This is feeling tribunal-ish. But since I haven't drawn Enchantress, I am heavily incentivized to play Loki. Holy shit, that's a super scroll. This hand is about to be cheap. Oh my god. This hand is about to be cheap. It occurs to me, of course, that they also have that, which is a problem. Save Enchantress for 7? I feel like I have to snap. I'm so terrified of this game. I'm just the scaredest dude who's ever lived. Fascinating. Okay. So the way I see it, and I don't know if this makes sense, but Super Skrull Mystique the Super Skrull. No. Order's different here. No, which lane do I care about, right? Super Skrull, Mystique the Super Skrull. Iron Man, Black Panther? Or do I just not play the Iron Man at all? Fuck it, let's go. I have literally no idea what happens. Okay, so let's find out what the numbers are here. Well, I know Iron Man, we don't want to give them Iron Man. We want to have all the Iron Man. Yeah, okay, 161 is a lot bigger. We don't want to give them an Iron Man and then getting their Thor off of Loki. I mean, that's good shit. That's just good shit, pal. Okay, so this is a game I can conceivably set up to be an Alliance game. Never mind. This is a game I am desperately trying to draw Loki. In this game, I am desperately attempting to draw Loki. Miss Marvel's not bad, but not great either. Interesting. Would I rather Miss Marvel or would I rather Loki here? I think with Necrosha, you can make a really coherent argument for Miss Marvel. I moved that out, though. You see? Do you see that I simply moved that out? I move this back over here and this back over here and go for Shang-Chi. Now, actually, we leave the one there. We move the Loki out. We move the Quinjet out. We go Shang-Chi here. Now we keep the Quinjet there. We go Shang-Chi here. We go Wave here. We go Psylocke here. Am I wrong about any of this? I don't think so. I don't think I am. Do you like wrestling? Yeah. Gwent Refugee. How's that going? How's that going? How's it going being a Gwent Refugee? Don't think that's ever going to come out, but who knows? Vince is under federal investigation now. Lamau. That's my statement on that as well. La to the Mao. Maybe we'll get something cool off this guy. I mean, it will cost fucking 2. So that is nice. Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Agreed. Just literally could not happen to a nicer guy. Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna play some dinos. This is the game where I play the dinosaurs. Okay, God help me. What if it's Sandman? That really sands my man. The problem is we're still dead, right? If they have the card Shang-Chi, we're still dead, and they definitely do. Yeah? There's no way they don't. Now you got this? Alright, watch me lose, dude. Watch me lose. Only 2 cubes. They might not have it, yep. We also lose to, like, the card Darkhawk. What? What? Sir, that's exactly what we beat! Woo! That's not very good. Well, it's not bad. Definitely better for a bounce deck than it is for us, though. Happily. Holy shit. What are they playing? Holy shit. What on earth are they playing? Oh my god. What is this? So Jessica goes infinite here, basically. She goes fucking huge. Something like that. Seems good. All right, as much as I say I refuse to go out like this, it sure looks like I'm going out like this. It sure looks similar to as if I was going out like this. They're snapping on the Death's Domain, but I'm a Loki deck, so I'm going to stay in against the Thanos deck. Even when they turn one snap me, that is the power of Loki, I think. They turn one snapped me on that. So like on not. That's really interesting. So I think that means my turn 3/4 is Snowguard Hawk into Loki. Oh. I could just play the card Loki. I like that a little more. So I got 5 of their cards with double discounts, which is no longer as good as it used to be, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing to do. I hope I get their Shang, because they're playing a big guy here, yeah? That's a blob. Ah. How the fuck did they get the energy there? That's insane. That's insane that they got the energy there. Holy shit. Oh, we're dead. Superflow, I am aware. What I'm complaining about is both their shit went left when I needed the exact not that to happen. Just in time for the tilt? Oh, no, 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 no. I've lost like 200 SP today. You're way past time for the tilt. We've actually kind of come out the other end. Bad things happen, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. God damn it. I forgot what he was playing again. I keep forgetting what everyone is playing. Chad, you have to keep track of this for me, or I'm never going anywhere. You got to keep track of this shit for you, boy. Destroy. Well, he switched to the Doom GM thing, right? I guess I kind of want to find out. Jesus. Okay. Uh, learned something today. Fascinating. What is he snapping me about here? I haven't the slightest clue. Actually, I know what it is. He plays Black Panther here. Okay, here's my strategy. Do they ever only play one card here? No way. Oh, the Galactus worked!